I've done really, really bad shit, right? I admit it. I know it was bad. My question to you is, like, I want to know, like, what you learned from the whole. You had this rise, and you having more fun than anybody, right? You were the top guy. Something went wrong.
Oh, I got set up by a dirty cop.
Right. So, right. You get set up by a dirty cop. But was there did you play any part in it? Did you put yourself in a position where an asshole could take advantage of you?
What I would never do again is involve myself in a gray area business. Even if it was completely legitimate, which is what I did. It was a completely legitimate business, and I ran my company to a T, which is why I'm free and beat the case, and we can get to that in a second.
Did you go to jail?
I went to prison for 2 years.
And
I beat it and came home.
So you beat the case and got it reversed?
Yeah.
How long were you supposed to go for?
Life.
No.
27 charges, man. Extortion, robbery, coercion.
You got sentenced
kidnapping.
for life?
No, they were trying to get me for life. I did not get sentenced.
Sounds like fucking, was it a Carlito's Way? I beat it 5 years on my...
Yeah, no, listen. But basically, we can get into it. But all I learned was stay a million miles away from anything gray area. Even if you're doing everything by the book, here is a business where, like in Vegas, it's completely acceptable to get people girls and have fun and dance, and like that's really what they trained me from 20 years old to do, including the club owners that you're mentioning, right? Like telling me, hey, Armani, we need you to do this, this, and this. Right. And I'm a kid with stars in my eyes, like, okay, I'll get these girls and come over here, and yeah, okay, we'll dance all night.
I totally get it,
whatever, right? So, but if you look at it and you say,
good
wow,
people
some people
do bad things sometimes.
Some people could judge this. Well, listen, I've done bad things like getting into fights with guys, but I've never done anything to a woman.
So let's look. There was charges. Okay, so there was when I first met you, right? Obviously, I Googled you, right?
Yeah, it's terrible.
And it's almost, I have a high threshold of terrible. Okay, so I mean, and I don't believe everything I see in the internet because I know better because they write shit about me, right? Yeah. And they had this whole issue with the thing with violence in women. And when I met you. I met you before I Googled you, and you didn't strike me as the sort of guy, so I dug deeper. Right. I asked around, and I heard there was two sides to the story, and that the violence side was completely fictitious. Is that true? Is that accurate?
Of course, absolutely not.
And tell me about what they was said about you and why. I mean, I did my research and found that it didn't stack up, and it seemed pretty clear to me that would happen. But there's we'll play this thing, this clip about this guy that we have here who's some scumbag cop or something that was crazy.
Well, what I didn't know at the time when they set me up was that this cop that you're talking about, Detective Chris Bachman, was essentially on a take from a guy named Molly Mall, who's like had a competitive escort service. And this guy's like one of those guys that just like stays in his mansion and isn't like involved in the scene. Right. I won Best Life of the Party 6 years in a row. I am like crowd surfing in a banana costume, like not taking life seriously at all. Right. So here this guy comes and there's a SWAT team and there's a tank driving through my mansion and there's an undercover sting operation.
Like a tank.
So he came after me twice. So 2.5 years before they set me up, he did an undercover sting operation where I brought 8 girls to a suite at Caesars. They drove a tank through my mansion in Anthem, and they also hit a penthouse that I had at this building called the Metropolis. They were not able to charge me with a thing. I got a phone call right before I walked into this suite. Hey, you're going to a setup. They got all these buildings shut down for you, just so you know. I called my lawyer, Michael Cristalli. I said, what should I do? He says, go in there and show me you're legit. I walk in there. They're asking me, for the girls, for Mr. Hassim, for the make love. I was like, no, for the make love. Prostitution's illegal. What is a prostitution? I was like, no. Chicken Ranch is about 40 minutes away. I'll get you a limo. He said, oh, no. I explained to them that the girls can dance, and that's it. He says, okay. They give me 40 grand in cash. I pay all the girls their cut. I leave the room. He's trying to get me to get him 3 ounces of blow. I'm just like, I know a guy. I'll see what I can do. I'll get back to you, right? He's like, take the 5 grand. I was like, no, I'm not a drug dealer. I walk out of the room. They tackle me. They put a bag over my head, take me back into another suite. I can kind of see computer screens through a mesh into a bathroom. They kick the shit out of me in this bathroom, and all I did is start counting. And they're like, why are you counting? I was like, well, you have an hour to detain me or arrest me. So as soon as I'm done counting to an hour, 2 gentlemen walk in, and this is the first time I met Detective Chris Bachman, and they don't even introduce themselves as that. So I'm Detective White and I'm Detective Black. It's a white guy and a black guy. And we got you on pandering and we've got you on trafficking.
Trafficking drugs or women?
Drugs, right? So they assumed that they were going to find kilos of cocaine in my mansion. Like, we know about your secret closet. I had this big closet and the door slides back and there's another apartment inside of my closet.
That's where I would have been hanging out, in the coke closet.
Right. And I'm like, there's literally no drugs in my house. Go for it. As it actually underneath the bed of both places is a briefcase that says "For the Pigs" on it. And you don't have me on pandering, which is pimping, right? Because I have a license for alcohol agency. How come my
So you had a license
for alcohol promoting?
Okay. Alcohol promoting?
Yeah. People refer to it as an escort agency, but it's not that. It's called alcohol promoting. It means it's like a mobile strip club license. I can send people
But not for the purposes of sex.
No sex.
But everyone knows it's a fucking joke, right? I mean, because that's all it's about, right? It's all about sex.
That the assumption is the difference in law, right?
No, but I understand that. But my point is that, when you, I think there's this huge stigma against this, which I don't think is deserved.
Right.
In the case of when, like, if everyone is doing something in a town, people go to Vegas for this reason, right? People are not going to Vegas. I mean, I guess it's the family side of the equation.
No.
People hanging in your area. They know what they're getting into, right? But my question is, though, what was this whole thing about, like, the violence side of the equation? That's the ugly part.
So this is 2.5 years before that, right? So they don't have anything. I walk out of there, no charges, right?
Oh, you walked away from it.
Literally nothing happened. Like, they couldn't touch me. Right, they find out that I'm licensed. He looked like an idiot. Imagine being Detective Chris Bachman. You had a helicopter and a tank go to a mansion. You followed me for 2 months. You hit a penthouse and you set up an undercover sting operation. Every cop in the city thinks that I'm going to jail.
Right.
And you didn't have a warrant for my office where my alcohol license was at because you didn't know. He says, bullshit, this guy doesn't have a license. I was like, do you think the dude who owns Burger King flips the Whoppers, bro? I said, why would I? I'm the trustee of a trust that manages a corporation that has a DBA that is that, right? Step your game up. He didn't even know what I was talking about. You know what I'm talking about, right? So
wait, so you got off? Nothing?
No, I didn't even charge. There was no getting off. I didn't do anything wrong.
Oh, that's what happened. So then,
I thought I was fucking King Kong. You couldn't tell me shit. I just had a SWAT team drive a tank through my house. I'm like, double down, more girls, more money. I start making 50 grand a day. Fuck you, right? Like, I'm like telling every host in Vegas, you're doing it wrong. If you have clients, you call me. So we're legit. These cops can't touch us, bro. Just never say that they're going to have sex. Never say anything illegal. If the client asks me for sex, I'm like, fuck off. You're an idiot or you're a cop. I don't want your money. I'm only sending girls to dance, hang out, what my license allows for, right? And
wait. Are you playing a role right now? But they were all having sex, though, right?
Listen, we're going back to the assumption. If two people get introduced,
I know the cover story, but I'm talking about the reality.
But this is the license, right? So the reality is, I'm not going to ever say then or now that I didn't operate. You couldn't catch me taking a shit with my fiance, which, by the way, I wear her ring right here. You couldn't catch me taking a shit with my fiance and ever have a conversation that was illegal. I wouldn't do it because even though I can assume that they probably were having sex or probably not, I never arranged that. It never came out of my mouth. It's not something that I would participate in that conversation. Is what keeps me legal and keeps me free.